If you're like most golfers, you practice hard. You hit balls, you watch tips, and you work on your swing. But somehow, your scores barely move. That's because most golfers practice parts of golf instead of training the full game. Today, I'm going to show you the full bag framework, a 15-minute system to train your entire bag and finally make practice transfer to the course. Why does our practice fail? Most golfers split golf into random categories. Driver day, chipping day, putting day, irons when they feel like it. Nobody wants to do them. But golf isn't played in categories. Golf is played as one connected performance system. You don't need random reps. You need connected reps. Because if your wedges improve but your approach game doesn't, scores don't drop. If your driver gets better but you panic inside 100 yards, scores don't drop. That's why golfers stay stuck. And in 60 seconds, I'll show you the one section most golfers skip that costs the most strokes. The full bag framework. Your golf game has 4 different zones. Zone 1, tee shot trust. Can you start holes with confidence? For the longest time, my driver was not my friend. I would hit it, hit it, hit it. It would go 150 yards, 50 yards slice off to the right. I was not confident there. If you can't hit the driver, you can figure it out, but you can also use a different club to get off of the tee. That's an important piece of the game, but you need to practice that on the range and figure out the actual mechanics behind it of why you're doing what you're doing, whether it's your grip, whether it's an open club face, or whether you're going out to in instead of in to out. Approach control. Can you hit greens and manage your misses? So are you getting on in regulation, which is 2 shots under par? On a par 4, that would be your second shot gets on the green. Are you managing your misses? That means if you don't get on in regulation, can you then put it in a spot where you can chip on? That is extremely important. None of us are pros, but what we can do, even if we're not getting on in regulation, is leave it close. There's absolutely no reason that we can't be at par or bogey golf. Number 3, the scoring zone, inside 100 yards. Wedges, chips, and sand shots. Can you consistently get out of the sand? Can you consistently chip the ball close? I like my chips to be almost like my first putt, where it's putting me close enough that maybe I can 1-putt, hopefully, but definitely 2-putt. I don't want to be 30 feet off of the hole with a chip coming from just off the green. And wedges are ridiculously important. If you can't swing your wedges, that's where you really need to work. And number 4, the finish zone. Can you close holes with putting under pressure? Pressure kills everything. Sure, in my living room, I can putt great, but can I take that out onto the course? Putting is something that people don't practice enough. There is not enough emphasis because we'd all rather hit the driver. When you're not practicing your putting, great. If you can get on in regulation, awesome. If you're then going to 4-putt, 5-putt, whatever, if you can't putt, your scores are not going to go down. If one zone leaks, the whole round leaks. That's why I call them the power leaks. The 15-minute routine, minutes 1 to 4, tee shot trust. Hit 5 drives or fairway finders. Make sure they're good shots. The goal is not distance. It's your start line and playable shape. Start line means it's going towards your target. Playable shape means you know whether you have a fade, whether you have a draw, whether you hit the ball straight. You're able to play that. I have a 10-yard fade. I know that I can play that. Now, if I start slicing it, if I slice it here, hook it there, draw, maybe a slice, then a straight shot, I don't know where it's going. You need to learn start line control and playing the shape that you have. Not every ball is going to go pin straight, but I know that with a little bit of a draw with my irons and a little bit of a fade with my longer clubs, I know that I can play them and I know what to expect. Minutes 5 to 8. That's all about approach control. What I want you to do here is hit 6 good shots with 2 different clubs, most likely your irons. For example, pick your 7-iron and 9-iron. Practice carry windows, not mechanics. Learn your distance profile, where the club's going. Minutes 9 to 12, we're going into the scoring zone. We're going to pick 3 different wedge distances. For example, I'll probably choose 30 yards, 50 yards, and 70 yards, and then some chips. This zone changes scores the fastest. Like I said before, that's because as you get closer to the green, you need to be more pinpoint with what you're doing. If you have a good wedge game, your scores will beat everybody you're playing with, as long as you're playing smart. Minutes 13 to 15, that's the finish zone. You're trying to make 5 putts inside 5 feet, then 1 pressure putt from 8 feet. It trains consequence. You want to do this until you can. But even this system won't work if you have one hidden problem: the distance trust gap. What's the distance trust gap? We've talked about it before, but it's when your club, say a 7-iron, normally for me 145 to 155. Back in the day, it would be anywhere 125 to 160. Sometimes I'm still a little bit off, but that is a 35-yard distance. That is a distance trust gap. I don't know where that club's going. If you can get that down and figure out the distance profiles of all of your clubs, that is going to change your game. So why does this work? This works because it mirrors actual golf, actually play. Every round asks, can you tee off? Can you hit approach shots? Can you score? Can you finish? You're no longer practicing swings, you're practicing rounds. That's the shift. What I actually like to do is start off with the system above and then spend whatever time I have left over playing an actual simulated round, whether I'm on the range or in the GIF, my home golf simulator. I'll grab my Rapsodo MLM2 Pro, pick a course from around the world and actually play. I can generally finish 18 holes in around an hour. So all in, I'm about an hour and 15 to an hour and a half to get this done. But you don't need to get a launch monitor like the MLM2 Pro to do this. I highly suggest it because it shows your shots and where you are on the course, but you can do it without it. Take a scorecard from your favorite course and use those distances to simulate. Just remember, if you hit a 90-yard slice, you're not hitting straight in. You've got to account for that. That's why I prefer using my Rapsodo. If this routine feels hard, that means part of your game is most likely draining the rest of your game. That's your power leak. Next video, I'm going to show you 3 power leaks killing distance and consistency. Subscribe so you don't miss it. If you're serious about breaking 100 or 90 or even 80, try this system to change how you practice now. And if you haven't watched part 1 of this series yet, go watch that next. It's going to be popping up because that's where this system starts. And comment questions down below and we'll work on answering them this coming Monday on our live at 4 p.m. Remember, our goal is to help you in 2026 so that together we can play better, have more fun, and love the game again. See you next time. Go watch that next.